Thought there was some really good positives in the first half, sharing the ball, 16 assists, our ball movement, how we finished the end of the second quarter. Our defense in the second quarter was really good, 20 points. We learned not to foul as much. We just didn't carry over our efficiency on offense or defense in the second half. But there's some positives we can take away from this. Obviously, we got another game on Tuesday. We look at the film, get better tomorrow. 44 in the tough. That's on me helping them get into position. They made some adjustments at half. They started putting us to some different things. Obviously, we got a little bit of foul trouble too. But some positives takes away, but it's some stuff to learn. And tomorrow we'll look at the film and get better. Go ahead.
What changed between the first and second half? What did they do differently, particularly with their offense?
I thought we were doing okay a little bit. It turned a little bit. They were just getting downhill. We were really protecting the rim pretty well in the first half and scrambling around. Those turned into some easy baskets for us. They obviously made some shots in the second half. I think they were 3 for 20 maybe in the first half, or 3 for 15. I think they went 11 for 16 from the 3, but they were able to get into our paint, attack us a little bit, and we were scrambling a little bit for sure.
LaMelo, 38 points, triple-double. You tried a bunch of different defenders on him, obviously without Bilal here. What did you think about the perimeter defense?
I thought we were okay in the first half. He took a lot of shots. The free throws was the problem, I thought, early, and I thought we cleaned that up. We were trying to make him tough. That's why we were able to hold him to 20 in the second, but he was able to get loose there, obviously, in the second half.
Alex focused his offense in the paint early on and then kind of drifted out as things went on. What did you think about his shot selection, particularly in the second half?
I thought Alex was good, putting pressure on the rim, obviously stepped out, hit a 3, long 2 at the end of the half. But I liked how Alex played tonight. Really positive.
Coach, how much did the foul trouble, specifically with Keyshawn, impact the personnel decisions there late?
We got a deep roster. You saw I played a lot of guys in the first half. Those things are going to happen in the game. We're never going to use that as an excuse ever here, for sure. We just put some different guys out there, but credit to them. They did a good job making some adjustments, some things that kind of messed up our timing offensively. I think that led to some defensive troubles also, but that's part of the game. We got to deal with those things. It's a good lesson for Keyshawn.
You mentioned the lack of defensive efficiency in the second half. I think 88 points allowed. What does the team have to do in future half times to carry over that efficiency from the first half to the second?
Yeah, those are lessons to be learned, right? What were we doing well? Sometimes you talk about why you lost the lead. How you lost the lead, but they don't talk about how you got the lead. We got the lead because we were defending pretty well, and we were sharing the ball. I think we got a little bit stagnant there in the second half. That probably led over to our defense just a little bit, but give them credit. They upped their physicality. It'll be a good day to get better tomorrow, look at some film.
You mentioned the physicality. What else do you feel like their adjustments in the second half forced your offense to become a little bit stagnant?
They went smaller. They started switching more for sure. We had some different rotations out there that were learning how to play with each other. Nothing abnormal, but give them credit.
You did still have multiple players in double figures. Is that kind of the balance you have to figure out with the offense is clicking, but then how do we maintain that for the full 48 consistently?
Yeah, the way we want to play, we want to have a lot of guys in double figures. We don't have like a dominant ball handler on our team. We want to share it. And when we're playing pretty well, which you saw in the first half with 16 assists, when that ball's flying around, we're playing some good basketball. Like I said, we'll look forward to taking a look at the film and see how we can continue that in that pass to be efficient on both ends.
What do you think about how CJ played compared to the first 2 games?
I think CJ's been great. This guy I think is 18th in all-time three-pointers made in NBA history, so was not concerned ever about CJ McCollum hitting shots. I liked how he played the first 2 games. Obviously, we want him to be aggressive. He can put pressure on the defense. Never concerned about CJ.
You're still trying to stack days at this stage, I
Yeah.
know. When you're coming off a good win like Friday, how do you keep them from overreacting to, okay, we had a bad half tonight, but we did play well Friday, but we did play poorly in the second half tonight?
Yeah, I think it's to us is like how you build that consistency. I think that's what every team's looking for. We're no different. I think that's what you use tomorrow for. What can we learn, what we can get better at? Let's acknowledge the things that we did well. Let's see if we can continue to do those better. Look at some of the adjustments we can make when the game changed. That's part of it. We're in the process of getting better, and I like where our team's going. I feel really good about it because I can see when we're playing well, it's hard to guard, and we defend pretty well. the consistency part. And when teams make adjustments, that's part of learning. We're excited to attack that tomorrow.
Was when you have difficulty with the low man sometimes, like how do you kind of, I guess it's repetition and just working through it over and over and over again, but how do you keep them from kind of like falling back into bad habits when they're not doing what they should be doing in that particular?
Yeah, it's like you said, like we just put together, our last 8 quarters, we put together 6 really good ones, right? So like there's some really good positives here we're doing defensively. Again, how do you keep that sustained? That's always the thing for every team, and that's what we're going to dig into.
Hey, Coach. 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗟𝗢𝗪 was still making his reads, his passes, despite getting guarded up pretty high in this game. They really knew he could shoot. How important are games like this in helping him grow as like that point forward role?
Great. He obviously got in a little bit of foul trouble. Like, you got to learn to play. This happened to him the other night, too, and I trust those guys to be out there. We made a quick little adjustment, brought Justin Champagny, who I thought gave us great minutes really to start the quarter. I threw him in there not to mess up the rotations, and I thought he gave us some energy. Always gives us that when he's on the court. But this is like great stuff, different coverages, different things, learning process for our guys. These are good things for Keyshawn. Like, he's learning how to face different coverages, different defenses. He was obviously the focal point of their attack tonight, but I thought he handled it well when he was on the court.
Sure. And speaking on learning, can you walk me through how you're trying to keep Trey Johnson involved in the offense? Are you more interested in what he can do as a creating guard, or are you trying to get him involved off the ball more?
I think a mixture of both. You can obviously, we're seeing his scoring ability, his ability to put pressure on the rim. We're learning him too, right? This is the great part. It's his 3rd game. But he's been efficient in 3 games. Pretty impressive for a young player. These are the positives we can take away. How can we start using them? I'm learning him too. Like, and our team's learning how to play with him, but he's been terrific 3 games into his career, really good.
Brian, with the giving up 36 free throws, did you see anything in terms of defensive technique that could be improved?
Like I said, the first quarter I thought we fouled. I think we only gave up 4 foul shots in the second quarter, and that's when our defense was good. They were able to miss. We were able to get out and transition. I think you can see how we want to play. We're able to get stops and rebound. We've been rebounding pretty well. Didn't rebound well as in the second half, I thought. But when we do those things, we're pretty hard to guard. I thought Will Riley gave us a nice little stretch there when he came in there at the end of that second quarter, and he was out there, got some easy baskets in transition. We can show what we're capable of. Those are the things we've got to keep digging into.
Hi, Coach. In preparation going into Philly, I know you mentioned that you're going to look back at the film to see if any details, to see what you guys can do to try to hopefully get that win against Philly. You care to elaborate on what details you might be looking for?
Every coach will say is we got to look at it more. I think that's what the beauty of this stuff is, that we'll all digest it. We'll go home. The coaches will watch it. We'll dig into the film. Our players will too. We'll get together and practice, and this is what we're really good at. Our guys love to practice. They love to get improved. So we'll look at some things we can tweak, what we can improve, and then we're going to take that into Tuesday night.
Hi, Coach. Sharife Cooper made an appearance in the 4th quarter. What type of player do you see him being for this Wizards team this season?
Yeah, he's been great. I've been really impressed with what he has brought to us. The high character. He's a great guy, great teammate. But his ability to get us organized, ability to get into the paint and play with pace. Really unselfish guy. Been really impressed with him so far.
Coach, what did you think of the non-Alex Sarr minutes tonight from Bagley and Tristan?
Thought they were good in the first half. I thought they did a good job. But I think it was all of us in the second half. I thought they've been good. Tristan and Marvin give us a different look. We did that the other night in Dallas, and I like kind of splitting them a little bit and see what different options they can give us. But the whole team, we just our efficiency on both ends wasn't as good as the second half.
And then with Bud, his shot hasn't failed to start the year, but defensively, I definitely feel like he's making an impact. What do you thought of his ball pressure?
Yeah, he's been setting the tone for us. Ball pressure, picking up full, fighting over things. Just kind of being that point of attack guy that's kind of inspiring the rest of his teammates. He's been terrific on the defensive end.
BK, you talked about it. You played 6 out of 8, your last 8 quarters. You played the way you want to play. You started developing it. How exciting is that for you, and how do you keep going?
Tomorrow, you get back in the gym, you learn from this, you grow, and then you move on, focus on to the next stuff that you can do to prepare for the next game. But I like the progress that we're seeing early in the season. I'm excited to get back in the gym.
It's a marathon. I think everybody wants success right away, but success takes time. It takes sacrifice. It takes dedication. It takes selflessness. And I think at times we have all of those things. But I think in order to be good, you have to be able to do the little things and minute things consistently over time. I think we're growing towards that. I think they have the right principles. You know, the staff is great. The front office is great. They preach the right things. They work towards it every day. But it takes experience. It takes real game experience. It takes real execution. It takes some failure before you're able to succeed. And I think tonight kind of showed a tale of two halves. They're on a back-to-back, and they still were getting offensive rebounds. They still scored in transition. They still pushed tempo. And I think we just got to have more resistance. And, I mean, it starts with the older guys, right? We have the most experience. We've been here before, so we got to continue to lead, you know, by example, continue to do things the right way, but also continue to pull them along. And I think it's early in the season, you know. It's, you know, a few games in, we're all missing shots we normally make. We're all a little late on rotations. Like, there's things that are going to happen from a communication standpoint that you build over time. And I think that, you know, a week from now we'll be a lot better than we are today.
How much does winning reinforce that, or can you reinforce that in losses when you when you do good things out on the floor?
I mean, you want to win, but I mean, you can win games with bad habits. I mean, talent is talent, right? So I think it's about the right types of principles. You know, we played a well-rounded game in the previous game, right? But it was defense. Like, offense, we didn't shoot the ball that well. We didn't get to the free throw line a lot. We turned the ball over, but we were so physical defensively, right, in terms of just, you know, challenging guys. You know, Cooper was challenged. AD felt, you know, contact. There was some hard fouls. Like, it was a physical game. I think tonight was a free-flowing game, right? Like, it was a happy go, shoot threes, come off clean, floaters, offensive rebounds, lob dunks. It was a free-flowing game. It wasn't physical enough, and I think that was the difference. I mean, we could have won this game tonight, you know, with a better second half, but that still doesn't reinforce the fact that we got to be better in transition. We got to communicate. I missed a couple switches where, you know, I didn't communicate, or I wasn't physical enough. I had to point at the screen. Guy slips out, he hits a three. Like, those are the things that, you know, as we get more reps, as we get more comfortable, kind of gauging switch versus stay, I think we'll be better.
CJ, to DA's first point, you've been around long enough to see good first halves sustained into good second halves. Wasn't the case tonight, but being a vet yourself, how much responsibility falls on your shoulders and on Chris's shoulders to galvanize the team and lead that efficiency into the second half?
Yeah, I think his pace is timely, boxing out is timely, making extra passes timely, getting paint pressure. Obviously, we need to generate threes in this league, right, the way that it's played now. So being able to get quality threes, being able to make them, I think is important. Being able to get to the free throw line, I think is important. But then I think from a communication standpoint, just constantly talking and making sure I'm in the right spot, making sure guys are in the right spot, and then making sure we understand how we're going to be successful, you know, over time. Like, guys are really talented. The sky's the limit for a lot of them. But as they get better at the little things, I think that's when we get better and make that jump as a team.
CJ, what was it in the second half with the adjustment that the Hornets made that it seemed like, and I don't know if it felt like it for you all on the floor, but it seemed like they got you guys offensively a little bit more stagnant than what we saw in that first half?
They switched a lot. Teams are going to be switching, you know, throughout this year, like size. Obviously, the 5 was going to drop all night, but once they sub and they get a little bit small, a little bit more athletic, they just switch. And a lot of times that stagnates the defense, and that's the kind of where the NBA is now. And when they switch, you got to be able to create advantages, not just off the bounce, but with movement. You know, that's when they're running slip. That's when that matters. That's when the boomerang matters. That's when getting your feet dirty, getting into the paint. I think all of those things matter, and we didn't do it consistently. And then a part of it is spacing, reading the spacing correctly. Like, our baseline drive, I got to be able to deliver the pass to the corner or to the slot. I got to know that they're going to be there, and then I got to deliver on time, on target. And one of the times I threw a bad pass with the left hand, but, like, spacing matters, patience matters, decision-making matters, and then if you get stops, it doesn't matter if you're switching or not, because you can get out and run, but we didn't get enough stops either.
And then from your experience, you talk about reps. Keyshawn has 2 really strong games to start the season. Obviously, he's going to be at the top of the scouting report for Charlotte coming into this. Doesn't have the offensive punch that we've seen, but did have an effect on the game. What are those conversations from a veteran mindset for him to bounce back going into Tuesday against Philly?
I think he puts more pressure on himself than any type of pressure the outside world could put on him. He's a talented player. I think tonight he didn't have a great whistle, right? Foul trouble kind of messed up his aggressiveness, threw off his pattern from a rotation standpoint, in and out the game. But I just tell him it's a marathon, man. Just keep swimming. It's a long season. Can't get too high, can't get too low. There's going to be great nights. There's going to be nights where you don't play your best. But if you're consistently working and doing what you're supposed to do on a day-to-day basis, over time, the results, they won't vary. They'll be consistent. The results will be the same. And I think he's heading in that direction with his consistent approach to the game. Like, he loves the game and he lives the game. So he won't have too many of these types of nights. And I think he's fouled out one other time in his career. So I don't foresee this being a problem going forward. Just keep swimming.
Hi, CJ. Where are you at developing chemistry with your new teammates, and what can you draw from being in this position before?
I'm a work in progress, man. Trying to find a rhythm, trying to understand spacing, flow, trying to understand play calling, tendencies. Training camp to games is completely different. We only played 3 games, so I'm missing layups, I'm missing free throws. Obviously, I think going into tonight, I was 1 for 10 from 3, which I don't do that very often. So it's just about being patient, understanding that change sometimes can be difficult. Change sometimes can test you. It can test your mental. It can test your game, but I think I'm built for it tough, so I'll be fine. I'll be better each night. I'll be more consistent each night, and then once we all kind of find our rhythm and flow and get used to each other, the results will be more consistent for us, and we'll be more competitive.
Hey, CJ, you talked about the changes they made on defense in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
What about the changes they made on offense?
I think the offense was more the same. They tried to find matchups they liked. They slipped out of a lot of pick and rolls. Obviously, Ball is a very talented player. He shoots with range. He's got the floater. He can pass. He's like 6'7", so he can see over the defenses. And I think they got favorable matchups. They hit the ball in the middle a lot in the pocket. And from a rotation standpoint, I was late on one. Miles punched on me. And then on the other ones where we would rotate over, we weren't getting to the corner. So it was kind of like pick your poison. So those are things that we'll work on tomorrow. And, it's not getting any easier. You got Maxey coming in. You got the young kid who's a monster. You got Embiid, even though he's on a minute restriction, he's a problem. So doesn't get easier. And then I think we got OKC soon. So it's like, welcome to the NBA.
And then new locker room today, first time you guys got to use it. What'd you think, and how did it compare to the others?
It's beautiful. It's the most beautiful locker room I've ever been in. I told the young guys, I said, you know how lucky and fortunate you are to be in a situation like this at 20 years old. When I was 20, I was taking ice baths and trash cans at Lehigh University. Shout out to my Mountain Hawks. But no, I think they've done a great job. Ownership is all in on development. They're all in on providing resources, and you can tell that they care. I think that's the biggest thing. The care factor shows in not only their words but also their effort and their actions.
CJ, what's the conversation do you have with Bub? He struggled offensively tonight, but defensively he showed a lot of strengths, where it's like it's not going one way, but it's going the other way, right? What are some of the conversations you're going to have with him as a guard coming into the league?
I think you can't let making or missing shots dictate your attitude. Like, I could be 1 for 10. Like, my demeanor, how I prepare, how I communicate, how I defend, it all has to be consistent. You shouldn't, if you turn the TV on, you shouldn't be able to tell if I got 30 or 0. It should just look the same. And I think they're all growing towards that. And I think for him, it's impacting the game. Change the pace, get in the paint, make plays, take the pull-up when it's there, get your feet dirty when it's not, be active defensively, finish around the basket, and everything will continue to kind of figure itself out. That's early in the season, man, and I think you can't get too caught up in makes and misses this early. And the law of averages, it always shows what it's supposed to at the end.
Do you have a specific moment you remember, like you were in the kind of situation as a young player?
I was not fortunate enough to be playing meaningful minutes. In my second year, I was an afterthought. I was in that 12 to 15. If we're blowing them out, I may get in. If not, I was a stay ready guy. I played in the stay ready games. Those are my games. So my path was different. He played in all 82, 30 minutes a game as a rookie, which is incredible and impressive in its own right. The developmental curve for him is probably a lot faster than it was for me because I wasn't playing. I was just 2-on-2, 3-on-3, and our staff wasn't as good as 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗡𝗪 and the guys that we're playing against now. So I think he's going to be fine. 2 weeks from now we won't be having these conversations.
CJ, how do you feel like Trey has adjusted to the NBA game so far?
I think he's been great. I think he's a gamer. I think he enjoys playing in games. Obviously, he's fearless. He got a quick release. Knows how to find shots. I think his poise is at a high level. I think his work ethic is really impressive, especially for 19, 20-year-olds. He's always in the gym. He takes care of his body, which is rare, right? A lot of young guys kind of neglect the body early and then double back late. So I think he's got the makings of being a really talented player for a long time.
Hey, CJ. You've joined teams as a young guy, and you've joined teams as an experienced vet.
That was good wording there.
Yeah. So I had to be careful there.
Yeah.
How do you encourage everyone holding each other accountable? Because you mentioned missing rotations. Everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah.
And you've been all over the range of clout. So how do you make sure that when you're talking to players, they're talking back at you?
Yeah, I think it's early on, man. I see something, I say something, but sometimes you got to let them correct it on their own. And I got 2 kids at home. I'm not here to parent anybody. I'm here to help. I'm here to develop guys and be a part of the process while also, continuing to try to play at a high level. But I'm not a preacher, so I'm not going to preach at them. Like when I see something that needs to be corrected, I'll say it. Sometimes they got to figure it out on their own. Sometimes I got to step in and help. But I think it's a fine line and a fine balance where you got to kind of pick and choose your moments. Too much of anything can be bad. So sometimes you just got to let it ride and, double back the next day or be watching film on the plane. Like, hey, this is what I see. This is how I think we can be better. And then I think it starts with me. I'm going to make shots. I'm going to miss shots. But what's the intentionality of how you're playing, right? Are you playing to win? I think that's what's important. Making winning plays. Will, he comes in and he makes winning plays. You're going to make shots. You're going to miss shots. But what is your intention out there? What's the force? Are you getting back, right? Are you making an extra pass? Are you getting in the paint? What type of impact are you making on the game? Because the scouts are watching everything. They can click through and see the box score, but the real scouts are breaking down the film to see, is this a makeable shot? Did he make the right play when he got into the paint? Is he in the right spots defensively consistently? That's what teams are going to want. And, I see it all the time. There's not a lot of lifers in this league, right? There's only a couple of guys that play on one team forever. So you're being evaluated consistently and constantly, by this organization and others. So you want to be able to provide good results and good feedback. So when the time comes, you have other opportunities that could be there for you, or you stay where you're wanted and needed.
Yeah, I think that just helps being more efficient, starting the game, more in the paint to get yourself going before after stepping out or doing what the game gives you.
And just what did you see from your perspective? What went wrong in the second half compared to the first half?
Just our defense. We allowed 88 points, so that's way too much in any game. But we did a better job in the first half. We just kind of let go defensively on the second half, and we just gotta watch film and be better than that.
Alex, how do you feel like you've gotten better as a passer since you got drafted here?
I think just being in flash actions, having the ball in those type of situations, and then kind of reading what my teammates are doing. So just I would say getting those reps helped me improve.
You have so much has to go right in your basketball game in this league. I just wonder, when you come off a game where a lot of things went right and you had a good road win, and then you come here and some things went right, but some things went way wrong. How do you kind of stack those days together and learn from both?
Yeah, I think that's part of the game. Obviously, every night is not going to go how we want it to go, but we really got to watch film, get back at it, and what's good with tonight is we know what went wrong. It's our defense, so we really can improve on that.
Is this team susceptible to bad offense leading to bad defense?
I hope not. As a player, that's easy to fall into, I'll say. But I feel like everybody knows that it starts on defense and then it carries over to the offensive end, and that's what's gonna get us where we want to go.
How has having 1 year of experience going up against NBA personnel helped with your anticipation on defense?
It definitely helps playing against those guys. Their personnel, what they like to do. You still get to watch film as a refresher, but it definitely helps.
Alex, it seems like you, CJ, and BK all kind of have an understanding as to what went wrong tonight for you all on the defensive end. does that give you guys some positive hope, knowing that it's correctable and that you have time to work on it, versus if everything went great tonight, but yet you still don't get the result you want, figuring it out that way?
I mean, I wouldn't say like positive, my bad, about tonight, but more like, you know, we know what we got to work on. So tomorrow film is definitely going to be mostly defense. But yeah, at least, you know, now we know what we got to do better. You know, it's not like we have no clue how to improve.
In those situations, how much of the film study, if you can take us in the locker room, is you guys kind of talking through it versus the coaches pointing out kind of where things went wrong, knowing that you guys kind of know what the scouting report was coming into it and what the game plan was, and just correcting the correctables?
I mean, it's very open. Like, BK just sits with us. You know, like if there's something you didn't understand or something, you can just talk it out during the film. And we also like do that on the court as well. Like it's probably like 50-50, like of walking through stuff, talking through stuff, and then watching film.
Alex, how did you, like with your shot selection tonight, it's gotten more efficient over the last few games and even in comparison to last year. What can you contribute to that, your growth, to like how it's been more efficient?
You saw it?
Well, yeah, sorry, let me rephrase. Your shot selection tonight was like on par, and it was like it seemed that it's been growing the last few games. What can you, if you could share how that kind of growth has been kind of going through, especially for the start of the year, starting strong?
Yeah, I would say just like trying to be better at stuff like that. Obviously, you know, like as a player, you always try to be efficient. I'm trying to be as efficient as I can, and you know, that's going inside and mixing up some inside and outside stuff. So that's just what I'm focused on.
Hi, Alex. With CJ and Chris being veterans on this team, what are some things that you have learned from them so far that you've incorporated or will be incorporating in your game moving forward this season?
A lot of stuff, you know, with Chris seeing it last year, and now CJ since the beginning of the season, just, you know, how they approach everything, whether it's practice, the games. So, you know, like it's a lot of stuff you can pick up on that, and, you know, they're both very competitive. So, you know, you definitely, you know, that they lead by example while doing that.
Ouais, Alex, en français, tu as parlé des changements dans ton jeu là. Tu dis, tu tires plus dans la raquette, tu fais aussi plus de passes, de contre, etc. Ça fait un peu penser à ce qui se passe avec Victor 𝗙𝗢𝗟𝗡 en ce moment. Est-ce que c'est un exemple que tu as envie de suivre, le sien?
Bah, je pense qu'en tant que joueur, voilà, forcément, tu essaies de trouver des moments où tu essaies d'être plus efficace qu'avant. Pour moi, je sais que ça va par voilà, alterner entre inside et out. Et voilà, je sais que ça c'est le cas pour beaucoup de joueurs dans la ligue qui veulent être efficaces.
Est-ce que tu peux aussi parler un peu de la bataille qu'il y a eu dans la raquette avec Moussa Diabaté, que tu connais bien du coup depuis cet été avec l'équipe de France? C'est assez rugueux avec lui, on l'a vu ce trash talk comme ça avec Kishon et tout.
Ouais.
Tu peux raconter comment ça se passe?
Ouais, bah, c'est un joueur rugueux qui va être très très bon sur tout ce qui est rebond offensif. Donc ouais, c'était une belle bataille et ouais, j'ai hâte de rejouer contre lui.